Good morning, everybody. It is yours truly, Hosty McGhosty.
And Axel.
And we are back at it again, reading Sam's Accident. We're back reading this. I don't know whether to label it as bad or good or in between. But enough of me ranting. I'm gonna go ahead and just read first. Let's see. I don't know why she has to put the disclaimer that all characters belong to Hit Entertainment. Duh, it's fanfiction, we get it. Okay, Sam. Okay, wait, no. Dr. Fisher's the Dracula character. Okay, Sam. Okay, alright. I read ahead to make sure it was actually the character, but anyway. Okay, Sam, I know you're uncomfortable, but I need you to try and keep your arm very still while I take this x-ray. I'll do my best, I replied. It was a few days later, and Dr. Fisher had decided to take more x-rays to have more x-rays taken of my injured arm. I know how to read, I promise. Because he wanted to ensure that the bones had started to heal properly. At least I'm allowed to wear my own clothes again now, instead of those awful hospital gowns.
I remember being a doctor, coming out of anesthesia, and it's like they give you the robe, and why is that fucking robe always too small? That robe I was out of it, and I didn't know what was going on, and so I put the robe on backwards. It's like, well, why is this? This isn't And so, in hindsight, I remember the nurse walking in, and basically, I'm like presenting my genitalia. The robe is like two curtains, you know, and my genitalia is Johnny Carson. Did you ever Jeff Ed McMahon going, hey-oh. God, that's the joke in the healthcare. It's like, well, let's pump him full of drugs and then give him this tiny robe and see what happens.
The day before, I'd been moved from the casualty section of the emergency ward to the recovery ward. I still had a room all to myself, which was nice, but also very lonely. And since I was eating and drinking normally again, Dr. Fisher had kindly allowed me to have my IV taken out, on the condition that I continued drinking as much as possible. He said that if he didn't believe I was drinking enough, he'd have the IV put back in again. The needle hurt a lot when it was taken out, but not as much as my broken arm had. Just one more week and I'll finally be able to go home. The x-ray technician returned to me and she moved the machine out of the way. Okay, that's the hard one out of the way. Now I want you to rest your arm warmly on the table. That's it, perfect. Just keep still for a few minutes longer. Once the second x-ray had been taken, the technician returned to me. Thank you, Sam. That's all for now. Nurse Jenkins can escort you back to your room. Do you need a hand putting the sling back on? Yes, please. And x-ray, you have the floor.
When my arm was safely back in my sling, I followed Nurse Jenkins back to my room. Instead of climbing back into bed, I settled myself down in an armchair near the window. There now, Nurse Jenkins said. Are you comfortable? Yes, but my arm is starting to hurt again. How badly? Well, it's not agonizing like it was before, but I'm not sure I'll be able to tolerate it if it gets any worse. In that case, I won't give you any painkillers for now. If you find that it's getting too much for you, just summon me. Is there anything else you need? No thanks, I replied as I picked up the book I'd been reading. Okay, I'll leave you for now. I nodded as she left the room. I'd only just finished reading one paragraph when someone knocked softly on the open door. Looking up, I saw Chief Fire Officer Boyce peek into the room. Oh, you can come in, sir, I called reluctantly. I placed my book back on the small round table beside my armchair. Ah, it's good to see you up and about again, Sam, Chief Fire Officer Boyce remarked. I gather that you're feeling better now? I smiled. Much better. Why, when did they move you into this room? Yesterday. It took 2 nurses to carry all of the get well soon cards in here. I chuckled quietly. Mind if I sit down? Chief Fire Officer Boyce sat down in the other armchair without giving me a chance to reply. Then he held out a file to me. The police finished their investigation into your accident. You only need to read the conclusion. I took the file from him, and with a bit of difficulty I opened up to the conclusion. The whole report was about 20 pages long, so I was glad I didn't need to read it all. I don't know what I'll do if the police blame me for the accident. I started to read silently to myself.
these aren't paragraphs. They're just sentences with spaces between them. It's not helpful in our cases because we rely on paragraphs to announce, when the end of me and you reading is.
Yeah, but at the same time, she is doing dialogue properly. You're supposed to start an entirely new paragraph whenever dialogue switches in between the two people.
Yeah.
So
You know what's funny? Somebody actually yelled at me for doing that, so I can't really blame her for doing that, but at the same time, it's just like, I had someone in the past when I started writing fanfiction who's just like, oh, you can't do that shit, and I'm like, in a novel, every other author's doing it. I mean, I'm sorry, writer doing it, not author,
It's proper writing technique. I mean, you're gonna have to, like, this is too little in between. Like, you gotta have more details in between each person's dialogue, but she's got the notation right. It's switching to a new paragraph every time a new person speaks, and that is proper. That is proper writing.
I take it as my turn, yeah?
Yep.
In conclusion, the investigation found that the vehicle, a fire service 4x4 quad bike, just call it an ATV, involved was not faulty and in excellent condition, and therefore did not contribute to the accident whatsoever. Driving conditions that day were not ideal, and the icy road surface may have contributed to the vehicle's loss of traction on the corner. The driver of the vehicle, firefighter Samuel Jones, stated in an interview with the police that he'd swerved to avoid hitting a fox that had strayed onto the road in front of him. Computer animation showed that the driver suddenly swerved before colliding with the roadside stone wall. No drugs or alcohol were found in the driver's systems, and his impeccable driving record implies that his statement to the police investigator was correct. The police investigation team are happy to conclude that the incident was a freak accident and no further action will be taken. I closed the file and handed it back. So, that's it? Yes. I'm glad that the police reached the conclusion they did. You're a valuable member of the fire service, Sam, and on behalf of everyone on the service, we're all looking forward to seeing you return to work as soon as possible. I smiled. Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to returning to work, too. Did you knock something over, Axer?
Yeah.
Chief Fire Officer Boyce stood up. I need to go now, I'm afraid. I have to give the new recruits at the academy some winter training today. Good luck with that, sir. Just as Chief Fire Officer Boyce was leaving, Dr. Fisher entered my room carrying my x-rays. Judging from the smile on your face, you've just received some good news. Yes, the police have concluded that my accident was just that, an accident. The investigation's over. Dr. Fisher smiled. That is very good news. Now, I just hope I can give you some more. He turned on the wall-mounted x-ray backlight, and he clipped my x-rays to it. My curiosity got the better of me, so I went over to him to take a look for myself. Your move, Axter.
Alright. I hadn't yet seen any x-rays of my injured arm, so I was shocked to see the extent of the breaks for the first time. Hearing the gasp behind him, Dr. Fisher glanced over his shoulder at me. Sorry, I forgot you hadn't seen any x-rays of your injury yet. As you clearly see, these are the pins we inserted during your surgery, and these lines are where the bones broke. There's still a bit of swelling, but it looks like it's going to heal up nicely. In fact, I think now will be a good time to remove your stitches. Stitches? I didn't know I had stitches. Of course I would. It was an open wound. Yes, I had to put 10 in to close the wound, and another 2 in your elbow after I inserted the pins. At the moment, Nurse Jenkins entered the room. Dr. Fisher, the school group has arrived for their tour of the emergency department. Dr. Fisher facepalmed himself. Darn it, I'd forgotten about that. What school group, I asked, but I had a feeling I already knew the answer. Dr. Fisher and Nurse Jenkins exchanged amused glances. Ponty Pandy, they replied in unison. The teacher we visit the Monte. I started to laugh at the irony of the situation. Oh, great fires in London. What a coincidence. Oh, great fires in London. I'm a fireman. I'm screaming great fires in London.
that's actually his catchphrase. So.
Really?
Yes. I shit you not. Actually, let me pull up the wiki article and I can prove it to you. All right. Take a look for yourself. Don't blame me.
Oh no. Oh no.
Let me see if it is. Yeah. See?
That just seems a little is ironic the right word? I think yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You don't know anymore. Alright. Are you continuing or am I gonna take over for you?
I'll continue for a little bit longer.
Okay. Just let me know.
Would you mind if I use you to show the kids the sort of things we do here? Of course not, I agreed. It'd be good for them to see a practical example. Excellent. Let's go. Nurse Jenkins, could you please bring the school group in my examination room? Don't tell them anything about Sam. We'll meet you there. I followed Dr. Fisher down a couple of hallways to an examination room. Hop up on the table for me, please, Sam. I think hopping is a bit beyond me at the moment. I equipped as I climbed up extend. Dr. Fisher chuckled. Then we heard the sound of children coming down the hallway towards the room. I distinctly heard Norman's voice above the others. Alright, this is... What he did... what she did here was not proper. The Dr. Fisher chuckled and instead should have been part of the same paragraph. Anything after instead, those 3 sentences should have been after instead. Should have been part of the same paragraph.
See, you know more about writing than I do, so it's just like I kind of let you throw in your 2 cents and I just kind of nod my head and pretend I understand. So, you know, I nitpick the grammatical stuff and like structure and whatnot. So
I just remember things here and there about like grammatical things, writing structure. I remember a bit of the more obscure rules, but yeah, I've written a little bit, so I know. So I kind of know what I'm doing.
This place stinks. What is that horrible smell? It's formaldehyde, Norman.
Formaldehyde.
What the hell's that? Oh, she explains it. Miss Chin retorted, "It's used for disinfecting things." So what's wrong with soap? I chuckled just as Nurse Jenkins entered the room. Now remember what I said, children. Keep your voices down and don't touch anything. You always got that one kid that just puts his hand on like the scalpel and just tries to kill everyone in the room.
Go, Bobby, with the pen, just run amok. And he's poking it around. What are those noises? Those are puncture wounds, Bobby. Stop. We made a horrible error. Kid's running out the door. He missed the donkey and got my neck.
Just like a tiny little like medic kid. That was not medicine. Just stabs people with a scalpel.
Oh, you're in pain here, let me help. No.
Heroes never die.
Okay, Mercy, calm down. We know that you want that play of the game.
This is the guy that I was running to in the library.
You're kind of
yeah.
like guilty. So you like to write on desks?
Yeah, that's what I do.
I've got you in my sights.
Double, triple kill. Quadruple kill.
Oh no. No, that is very painful.
that is wrong. That is on like 16 levels of wrong.
And you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
As the children entered the room, they squealed excitedly when they caught the sight of me. Fireman Sam! Hello, everyone, I replied happily. Sarah and James ran over to me, and they hugged me tightly. We really missed you, Uncle Sam, James said. Again, I still have this image of, like, America wants you to sign up for the military. Haunting Pandy just isn't the same without you, Sarah added sadly. I looked at the other kids and the adults with them. Aside from Miss Chin, the kids were being supervised by Helen, Trevor, and Charlie. I extended my good arm towards Charlie, inviting him in for a hug. He gladly did so and embraced each other for a moment. How have you been, Sam? It's only been 48 hours since you last visited me, I reminded him. But I'm fine. I've been a bit lonely, but I understand how busy you are. I was moved into a new ward yesterday, so I've had enough to do to keep me occupied. Your move while I go get something to drink.
Dr. Fisher cleared his throat behind us. Okay, this is enough of blowing happy families. Any more of that, then we'll all start getting emotional. Now it's time to show these kids how we look after people in hospitals. Alright. Are you gonna do something to Fireman Sam? Norman asked. Yes, but first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Fisher, and I'm the trauma specialist here in the emergency department. I get to treat the most serious case.
You know how to read, you promise.
This typo bothers me. I get to treat the most serious cases.
Oh, I didn't see that. Let me remind you of the definition of the word series here, Cars. Hang on. Before you even continue, I'm sorry. I have to sound like a smartass for 1 minute. The definition of series, I think in this context, is series. Noun. Definition number 1. A number of things, events, or people of a similar kind or related to nature of coming one after another. And then cases, right, is an instance of a particular situation, an example of something occurring. Or an instance of a disease or problem.
You suck, you jackass.
Fucking Microsoft Word is an awesome tool. It has something called spell check and grammar.
This I'm sorry, this typo. It's bringing me child savior flashbacks.
Just cues a picture of like cues a picture of like Mace from Dreamkeepers slowly zooming in Vietnam flashback. And it's like a clip of the child savior one that me and you did.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Right. I get to treat the most serious cases that come in, like your friend, Fireman Sam. I smiled at the kids. Norman pointed at my injured arm. Does it still hurt, Fireman Sam? I shook my head. Not really, Norman. I'm off most of the painkillers. I'm also off the painkillers now, actually. Dr. Fisher started removing my sling. Sam's injury is healing up nicely, which is why I decided to remove his stitches today. But before that, I need to remove his casts. But I thought casts needed to stay on broken bones for weeks, Mandy said. For normal breaks, yes. But I can't remove the stitches with the cast in the way, can I? I suppose not, Mandy conceded. How are you going to remove the cast? Hannah wondered. Dr. Fisher held up a small electric saw with yes. James Crest. Yes.
I imagine this is one of those just kidding scenarios where he pulls out a chainsaw. And Sam's like, whoa, hey now. I'm kidding. He's the actual Saw. Anyway, you were saying? Sorry.
James gasped, but you could cut off his arm! I gulped nervously. Sensing my nerves, Dr. Fisher patted my shoulder before he responded to James. He's very safe, young man, providing your uncle doesn't move while I'm using it. It's not going to be easy, but I need to be brave for kids. Honestly, I felt braver fighting a raging forest fire than I do right now. Sarah tapped Dr. Fisher's arms. When I broke my arm last summer, my doctor used scissors to remove the cast. That's what we do with kids, because the saw frightens you so much. But because your uncle is an adult, we prefer to use the saw. Now stand back on the other side of the table, please. Thank you. Could you lie down for me, please, Sam? And Nurse Jenkins, could you please arrange the sandbags around Sam's arm to keep it still? I did as I was told, and I tried to make myself as comfortable as possible. I closed my eyes in an attempt to block everything out. It was a technique I learned to help deal with stressful situations. For a strange reason, it seemed to work. I could relax myself to the point where I was half asleep. Nurse Jenkins carefully slipped a couple of long plastic guides between my cast and my arm to act as a guide for the saw, and to prevent any injury to my arm. I flinched a little when I heard Dr. Jenkins turn the electric saw on, but then I forced myself to relax again. It looks really scary, I heard James exclaim fearfully as Dr. Fisher began cutting through my cast. It didn't hurt, but it was a bit uncomfortable. A few minutes later, Dr. Fisher had finally removed my cast, and then he turned the saw off. However, I managed to relax myself so much that I started to doze out. Sam? Dr. Fisher called. When I didn't respond, he shook me gently. Sam, wake up! Groaning, I reluctantly opened my eyes. Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. Everyone laughed as Dr. Fisher shook his head in amazement. Honestly, Sam, I've never had a patient who's as relaxed as you are. It must be because of all the training he's had at a firefighter, Trevor suggested. They're taught to remain calm no matter what. Alright.
Glancing to my left. Yeah. And then, do you think that we should just stop on this chapter tonight, seeing it's 1 a.m. in the morning my time?
Yeah.
Glancing to my left, I looked at my injured arm while Dr. Fisher carefully lifted it up to pull the remains of the cast out of the way. It looked awful! I could see stitches, and it was covered with flakes of dead skin. But then I saw the scar where my bones had broken through the skin. Even though Dr. Fisher had done his best to tidy it up, I knew that the scar would be permanent. I groaned in dismay. You can come and have a closer look now, kids, Dr. Fisher said. But don't touch. I need to clean his arm before I remove the stitches. Did that scare you, Fireman Sam? Mandy wondered. Should I be honest with him? It can't hurt, I suppose. A bit, but it didn't hurt at all. Norman was inspecting my injured arm. Urgh, that looks disgusting. It's just dead skin, Helen explained. Dr. Fisher returned to my side. Alright, that's enough. I need you to go and stand back on the other side of the table now, please, kids. They did so, and he placed a small tray down on the table beside me. I'm just gonna clean up your arm now, Sam, and then I'll remove the stitches. I felt the familiar coolness of alcohol being wiped over my arm. Then Dr. Fisher began to carefully remove the stitches. That looks very painful, James whispered. It isn't, James, I assured him. It's just a tad uncomfortable. There's a little bit of echo going on your end. But, like I said, you can't really control that.
Yeah, I'll grab some headphones somewhere soon enough.
Finally,
next time I get a chance, I'll buy myself some new headphones.
Okay. Finally, all the stitches have been removed. Dr. Fisher cleaned my arm again before he started to recast it. What color plaster would you like, sir? What color plastic? I know how to read, I promise. What color plaster would you like, Sam? I glanced at him in surprise. You have colors? No shit, Sherlock. He chuckled. Yes, take your pick. Red, I instinctively replied. That made everyone laugh. Your move.
Alright. I'm starting to get the impression that red is your favorite color, Dr. Fisher mused. Red jelly and now plaster? Then again, why am I surprised? You're in the fire service. Now kids, pay attention to this. This is how we put on a cast. We start with this padding. Just to ensure it's comfortable around the patient's arm before we can put it on the plaster. Is it comfortable for you, Sam? I nodded. Then, with Nurse Jenkins' help, Dr. Fisher began wrapping the damp red plaster around my arm. A few minutes later, my injured arm was safely back inside a protective cast. Can I sign an Norman nasty Huey? Not yet, Dr. Fisher replied. The plaster needs time to set. Besides, I'd rather not have my cast signed by anyone, I said, especially by normal.
Normal? You know what? Let's go with it. Normal. Church, now normal.
Especially you, normal Price. Ooh, but no buts, Norman. Miss Chen scolded him. Fireman Sam is perfectly within his right to refuse you to refuse to let you sign his cast. That should be dry by now, Dr. Fisher said, and he touched my cast all over to make sure. Yes, let's get it back in the sling, then you can go and rest in your room, Sam. You're starting to look tired. Thanks, I muttered as I suppressed a yawn. Using my good hand, I easily vaulted off the table. Helen, would you mind if I have a little talk with you in private? Of course, Sam. Ellen followed me outside in the hallway. What is it, Sam? I took a deep breath and leaned against the wall. I just wanted to thank you for saving my life last week. I know what would have happened if you hadn't come along when you did, but I don't want to think about it. Helen smiled kindly. You saved our lives so many times, Sam, and I'm so grateful that I was in the right place in the right time to save yours. You gave us all one terrible fright, though. None of us ever want a wrench in life without you. I was so overcome with emotion that after hearing that, I burst into tears. Helen quickly placed an arm around my shoulders. Nurse Jenkins emerged from the examination room then. Is everything alright? He's a bit tired and emotional, that's all, Helen explained. I'm sure he'll be fine after rest. Yes. Come on, Sam. Let's get you back to your room. Now.
This story is going to be rather interesting to read in terms of, it's not the story itself that irritates me, it's just the author. You know, I haven't read her other stories yet, and quite frankly, I don't want to after what I've just seen with Sam's accident. And even though we're on good terms now, and I don't want to ruin that, I just have problems with her arrogance. And I don't know what it is about her that makes me upset every time I look at this fanfic. So, I think this is gonna be a good stopping point for the night. And we will pick it up again next time, hopefully, maybe. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Wouldn't it be nice living life like everything was a party? Only 18 years deep and now we're getting started. Finish line clear, so we focused on the target. Wouldn't it be nice if we saturate the market? And wouldn't it be great if we could just simply rage and never think about calm down or act your age? I say hey, hands up, the record plays. Wouldn't it be great if I could live on stage?